So students, here is the first problem in liquidation chapter. So here the following particulars relates to a limited company which has gone into voluntary liquidation. So we can find out that the company is up to a liquidation stage. You are required to prepare the liquidator's final statement. So what here they are asking to prepare? They are asking to prepare liquidator's final statement, allowing for his remuneration at 2% on the amount realized. So here allowing for the remuneration at 2% on amount realized, 2% on amount distributed to unsecured creditors other than preferential creditors. So they are giving 2% of commission on asset realized. Amount realized means assets realized. So if the liquidator has sold any assets and brought the cash, means on that they will be paying 2%, and 2% on amount distributed to unsecured creditors. So here you are supposed to understand one thing: 2% on amount distributed to unsecured creditors means any amount remaining to unsecured creditors after paying all the other liabilities, all amount remaining to payable for unsecured creditors after paying other liabilities. So there also they are given other than preferential creditors, means we are not supposed to include preferential creditors, only the amount available for unsecured creditors. On that value 2% on amount realized and 2% on amount distributed to unsecured creditors. So here they are given preferential creditors. These are all the liabilities. Preferential creditors of 10,000, unsecured creditors of 32,000, debentures worth of 10,000. So these are the liabilities to be payable. So next assets realized. So here they are given the assets realized. Land and building they are realized for 20,000. Plant and machinery they are realized for 18,650. Furniture, fixtures and fittings for 1,000. And also there is a liquidation expenses amounting to 1,000 rupees. So before going for this adjustment, so let me show you with the liquidator's final statement. So here is the liquidator's final statement. So according to this statement, we are supposed to prepare the liquidator's final statement from this question. So let's see, here is a problem, I will be solving it. So unsecured, so here liquidate in the books of whose company is this? It is limited company. Liquidator's final statement. So on the receipt side we will be writing there is no cash in hand in the question, no cash at bank. Then the assets realized. So what are all the assets realized? There are the three kinds of assets realized. One is land and building, that is 20,000. So plant and machinery 18,650. Furnitures and fixtures 1,000. This much is the assets realized in the company. Assets realized means assets has been converted into cash form. So we are supposed to go for the payment side. So no other thing, whatever assets realized I have written over here. So coming to the payment side. So do we have a sundry creditors in the question? No, there is no sundry creditors. Liquidation expenses, yes, liquidation expenses worth of 1,000 is here. So no sundry creditors. I will be going on with liquidation expenses. Liquidation expenses. What is the liquidation expenses? 1,000 rupees. So next coming on to liquidator's remuneration. So yes, in every question we are supposed to, there will be a liquidation remuneration, that is payable remuneration. So what is the value that is given in the question for liquidation remuneration? 2% on assets realized, 2% on amount realized. So here what they again, one is on amount realized, 2% on amount realized, and B is 2% on amount payable to unsecured creditors. So that is other than, that doesn't include preferential creditors, only amount realizable to unsecured creditors. So here in this I have solved how to calculate 2% on amount realized. So see for this, here 2% on amount realized. So this is the value of amount realized. So 20,000, 18,000, 650 and 1,000. So this is the value of amount realized, that is the pay receipts of the company. So 2% on 39,650 is 7,933. So that is 2% on assets realized will be 793. So next is 2% amount payable to unsecured creditors. So we still don't know what is the amount payable to unsecured creditors. So in the question they are given 30,000 is payable for unsecured creditors, but unsecured creditors will be paid after paying all those expenses, right? So here is the unsecured creditors. First we are supposed to see. So here we don't have secured creditors, we paid expenses. In liquidation remuneration we paid for assets realized. So still one is there that we don't, that will be paid on unsecured creditors. So after this there is a debenture, outstanding debenture, preferential creditors. After paying all of them, the money will be remaining to pay for this person, right? That is unsecured creditors. So next let's see in the question. So what is there here? Outstanding interest on the debentures. So in the question there is no outstanding interest on debenture, nil. So next is debenture value. Yes, we have a debenture in the question, so that need to be written here, right? So debenture. So what is the value of debenture? 10,000. So next what is there in the here? So next is for creditors. In creditors we have two types, that is preferential creditors and unsecured creditors. So do we have a preferential creditors? Yes, we have preferential creditors. So what is the value of preferential creditors given in the question? So value of preferential creditors that is given as worth of 10,000, right? So after paying all these things only, the amount will be available for unsecured creditors. So unsecured creditors. So now we are supposed to calculate what is the amount remaining for this unsecured creditors. So see here. So 2% on the amount payable to unsecured creditors. Total receipt how much? So when we add all those things, we will be arriving at 39,650. By this we are supposed to minus the amount payable before the unsecured creditors. So see, 1,000 liquidation expenses, 793 remuneration, amount realized remuneration, plus 10,000 debentures and 10,000 for preferential creditors. In this 39,650 we will be paying all these things, and then only the amount will be available for unsecured creditors. So when we all add those things, 21,790. So with total receipts minus total payable up to preferential creditors, 21,000 will be 17,835. So this is the amount available for preferential creditors, right? So amount available for preferential creditors is 17,857. So while calculating remuneration for the preferential, that is liquidator, so we have on the amount payable, see on the amount payable itself there is a three types. So on the amount assets realized there is only one type. On the amount payable only we have three types. So one is when the amount is sufficient. So this is when the amount is sufficient, whatever amount is given, then that is sufficient. When the amount is not sufficient and the payable on the to the preferential holders. So here we are supposed to see, is this amount sufficient or not sufficient for the unsecured creditors. So value of unsecured creditor is 32,000. So here the value available for unsecured creditor is 17,857. So the amount is not sufficient. So we have a deficit of amount. Payable was 32,000, but the amount available is 17,857. So when there is no amount available, then there is a no sufficient amount available. What is the formula? Amount due to creditors multiplied by rate divided by 100 plus rate. So what is the amount due? What is the amount available for unsecured creditors now? So after calculating all these things, we came to know 17,857 is the remaining for unsecured creditors. So 17,857 multiplied by rate of commission on the payment is 2% divided by, that is 100 plus what is the rate? 2. So here 102. So that will be 350. So now we can write here, right? We can write here. That is the value, that is 350. Right. So now after paying this also, in this 17,850, after paying this amount for unsecured creditors of 350, any balance remaining will be paid to, that is, unsecured creditors. So on the receipt side, the total will be 39,650. So every time it will get tallied with 39,650. So balancing figure it here, 39,650 minus 1,000 of liquidation expenditures minus 793 minus 350 on payments, that is, what is that, we will be paying for remuneration minus, and 10,000 of debentures minus 10,000 on preferential creditors. So now the value remaining is 17,507. So here is the question. So we found out that this is the liquidation final statement, liquidators final statement. We came to know what is the amount payable for remuneration also, and what is the amount payable for finally for remaining unsecured creditors. So hope you have been understood. So if any doubts, you can ask me. One more thing, you are supposed to calculate, if you are supposed to this, you are supposed to follow this liquidators final statement itself. So payment should be made according to this itself. So hope you please write down in your notes, or while doing the next question you should be having this, right? Okay, thank you.